In the in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Chapter 9, 14. Then came to him the disciples of John, saying, Why do we and the Pharisees fast oft, but thy disciples fast not? Then the disciples of John the Baptist, came saying, Why do we and the Pharisees fast often, but thy disciples fast not? So they asked him a very pertinent question. And then Jesus said unto them, Can the children of the bride chamber mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them? But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken from them, and then shall they fast. Can the children of the bride chamber mourn? So here also, Jesus likens himself to the bridegroom. Likens himself to the bridegroom. Can the children of the bride chamber mourn? As long as the bridegroom is with them. So he's referring to him as the bridegroom. The Christ consciousness. It means the Christ consciousness. Everyone is awaiting in the world to receive the Christ consciousness. So it is in that sense that in the parable, in one of the parables, it is stated that the 7 virgins trimmed their wick, waiting or awaiting for the bridegroom to come. There also in that parable there is a meaning there, mystical meaning, allegorical meaning there, stated in allegorical terms. So here too also Christ is using the same allegory. Can the children of the bride chamber mourn? Can the children of the bride chamber means can my disciples, my disciples, can they mourn or will they mourn? As long as the bridegroom is with them, as long as I am with them, they have no need to mourn. But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken from them, and then shall they fast. The bridegroom, so he's indicating to what's going to happen to him later on in life. When the bridegroom shall be taken from them. Taken from them. Later on at the faggot before crucifixion, they would come and take him away. And then shall they fast. And thereafter they shall fast. So here we said, fast means to become, having closed the 12 doors, then thereafter you fast. You get into your closet, and then having closed the 12 doors, having shut them, and then you fast. Fast here also indicates that when you shut the 12 doors, you are fasting. You are not feasting, but you are not feasting with your senses, but fasting. The sensory input which may come into you. So then these disciples will do that fast, the real fast, wherein they are shut off the sensory doors, your senses. So that is fasting, not receiving sense input from the outside phenomena, from the sound world, the form world. So they don't receive that input phenomena, and therefore they are fasting. That is the real meaning of the word fast. And then, having done that, they would become God aware. So it's a dual process. So real fast involves this dual process. Otherwise such a fast is meaningless. Makes very little sense. So at that time, they will be mourning. When the bridegroom has been taken away from them, then shall they fast. Then the time has come for them to become aware of God. The time has come. Then, now in the next two, he is talking a very interesting concept, and he is bringing out two parables to illustrate this. First one is 16th and 17th. The 16th is, no man putteth a piece of new cloth unto an old garment. For that which is put in to fill it up, taketh from the garment, and the rent is made worse. So, when you fix a patch in an old cloth, you do not put a new cloth and patch it up. If you do that, when the new cloth which is on the old cloth shrinks, it will tear the entire patch and make it worse. So for an old cloth, only an old cloth is used for patching because they are agreeable. They are agreeable. So this is one. Then the second one is in the 17th. Neither do men put new wine into old bottles. Because in European tradition at that time, people of course took a lot of wine because they had a lot of grapes and they used the wine. So therefore, neither do men put new wine into old bottles. So those who are proficient in preserving the wine, they know this, and else the bottles break. If they put new wine into an old bottle, the bottle will break, because a new wine expands and then it breaks the bottle. Else the bottles break and the wine runneth out, and then the wine will run out and the bottles perish. But they put new wine into new bottles, and both are preserved, the bottle and the wine. Now what do these two parables mean? It refers to the teachings. You have the old teaching, However faulty the old teaching could be, then a teaching similar to the old teaching is agreeable to the old teaching. It's agreeable. But a new teaching is not very agreeable. It doesn't agree with the old teachings. So people, so as a result of it, it doesn't fit in. The old teaching, however faulty, and the new teaching which is being given, however correct it is, it just does not fit in. They don't agree. So, similarly, so the two examples in the two parables was meant to indicate that. So, the second example makes it even more clear. But they put new wine into new bottles. What does it mean? The remedies. You put new wine into new bottles, and both are preserved. Both are preserved. So new wine into new bottles. So therefore, you leave aside the old teachings which you had received, put it in the background, and listen to the new teaching with a fresh mind. With a fresh mind. That's what it means. With an open, fresh mind. The new teaching has to be received. It is for this reason that the new teaching, so the Jesus' teaching is something new, while the teachings which was prevalent at that time in the Jewish culture was of a different order and character, and therefore it didn't quite agree. It didn't quite agree. Therefore, Jesus' teachings were disagreeable to the priests, who were the Sadducees and the Pharisees. While the general public, the Gentiles and others, so they had an open mind in the issue. They had an open mind in the issue, and Jesus' teachings were well received by them. Were well received. So here also, in the world, people have already got some form of teaching. Good teaching, correct teaching, incorrect teaching, bad teaching. They have been bombarded with all these teachings in the world. So therefore, if you want to have a good teaching from a good teacher, listen to him with an open, fresh mind. Otherwise, you will be listening to it with a biased attitude. With a biased attitude. So with a clean, fresh mind, you listen to the teachings which are being presented without any bias or prejudice. Otherwise, when you receive the teachings, it will be distorted. So that is why he said, new wine is put into new bottles. This is the meaning of, this is the sense of it. Then, I very much wonder why whether the Christians do understand that when they go to church, they go in their Sunday best. Generally, people go in their Sunday best to the church to attend the service. But I wonder whether they understand the significance of it. In your Sunday best, you go to the church with a fresh dress, clean, fresh dress. The idea is that you are meant to receive the sermon and the teachings with a fresh mind. With a fresh mind. So that is why they go to the church in their Sunday best. Then, this truth is also illustrated by Jesus in another parable. The parable was that it's not in the Matthew, but perhaps in another gospel, wherein a king invited the people for the wedding feast of his son, and then he first invited the prominent people in the city, but they didn't turn up. Who were the prominent people who were in the city? They were the priests, the Sadducees. The Sadducees, the priest. So the priest, generally it refers to the priest, and they didn't turn up. They say, we don't want this. So they didn't turn up. So the prominent people did not turn up then for the feast. Then he sent his servants to invite the other personages in that city. They too failed to turn up. Then the king told his messengers, go and call one and everybody out in the road and ask them to come. The feast is ready. The feast is ready. Come and participate in that. So then they came. The multitude, the people came. And then as they sat for the feast, one of them was dressed in his workman's clothes, faded, dirty workman's clothes. So the king went up to him and told him, my dear man, you are invited for a feast. You should have come with the proper clothes for it. Huh? Get up. You're not entitled to this feast. Not entitled to this feast. Now, what is the significance of this parable? Is that the feast is the good teachings which is going to be given to you. And in order to receive the good teachings, you must have a fresh mind. Fresh mind. That is the significance of this parable. Fresh, open, clean mind, so that like a blotting paper you can receive the teachings. And what does it mean that first the important personages were invited but they didn't turn up? Of course, they were the Sadducees, the priest. They don't want this knowledge. You see? So any good teachings which come into a country, they don't want it. So they didn't want to attend to this feast. The feast, that is the good teachings. Then the others were the scribes, the other personages. They too didn't want to come. They were also not interested in the teaching. They are quite satisfied with their concepts and ideas, however right or however faulty they is. They don't want it. Huh? So then ordinary people came. That's what it means. So that is the meaning of this parable, wherein new wine is put into new bottles. It means without a biased mind, without any bias or prejudice. If you have a bias for your own doctrines and understanding, then you can't. You'll be listening to it with a biased mind. And if you have got a prejudice against it also, thinking that it is not correct and faulty, then also you will try to pick holes, but you will not try to understand. So therefore you must have a clean mind, a pure open mind to receive the good teachings. So that those teachings can be preserved. So here, the bottle, the new wine is preserved in the new bottles. So your mind is the bottle and the new wine is the teachings which is being given to you. That's what it means here. While he spake these things unto them, behold, there came a certain ruler and worshipped him, saying, my daughter is even now dead, but come and lay thy hand upon her, and she shall live. And Jesus arose and followed him, and so did his disciples. And behold, a woman which was deceased with an issue of blood 12 years came behind him and touched the hem of his garment. But as Jesus was proceeding to the home of the ruler, on the way a woman came from behind, and behold, a woman who was diseased with an issue of blood 12 years came behind him and touched the hem of his garment. So as Jesus was proceeding to the house of the ruler, to deal with his daughter, cure his daughter. So this woman from nowhere came behind and touched the hem of his garment. For she said within herself, if I may but touch his garment, I shall be whole. Not even to touch him, but to touch his garment, I shall be whole. I shall be whole means I shall be cleansed of my disease. But Jesus turned around, and when he saw her, he said, daughter, how compassionate he is. He calls another person as son, the one with the leprosy, and here he calls the diseased woman daughter. Be of good comfort. Be of good comfort. Thy faith hath made thee whole. Thy faith had made thee whole. Because the woman felt that if she just touches his garment, that alone will heal her. So such was her faith. So then Jesus turned around and said, thy faith had made thee whole. And the woman was made whole from that hour. From that very moment, immediately, she became all right. And then now, thy faith had made thee whole. Thy faith in what? Tell me. No, it's another meaning now. Mystical meaning. Thy faith hath made thee whole. So that earlier was one meaning. Thy faith. Now thy faith, your faith in God, your faith in God will make you whole. Your faith in God. And what is this faith? In God? Faith in?
The unseen God.
The
unseen God.
Yes, of course. Faith not only in the unseen God, but faith in the fact that God and I are one. God and I are God. I am in God and God is in me. So the supreme faith. Thou art that. Thou that. I am that. The faith in the truth. Faith in the truth that I am that. That is the name of the God as given in the Old Testament. I am that I am. I am who I am. So the faith that I and God are one indeed. So this faith will make you whole and will make you one with God. When you live your life with this faith, so when you have this faith, it is a feeling and an awareness that I and God are one, that I exist in God and God exists in me and we are one indeed. This faith alone will make you whole. This faith alone will lead you into salvation. So that's all that you have to do. You have to only feel this and be aware of it, that I am that. This is that faith which will make you whole. Then to maintain this faith, do you have to subscribe to any doctrine? You don't have to subscribe to any religion. No. This is true faith. This is true faith. Faith in God and faith in the truth that I and God are one. That's all that is needed. So long as you are able to have this faith and keep on living your life with this faith, you will become one with God and you will become whole. Just as God is whole, W-H-O-L-E, whole and one, you too will become one. So that is why he says, thy faith had made thee whole. So here a mystical expression is there. Then, and when Jesus came into the ruler's house, wherein he had been previously invited to attend, and saw the minstrels and the people making a noise. So there when he entered the house, the woman apparently, that was apparently dead, or shall we say apparently, on the way out. And the people began, the minstrels and the people began making a noise of lamentation. They were lamenting. And he said unto them, give place, that means go away. For the maid is not dead. But sleepeth. She is in a coma state. She is not dead, don't worry. And they laughed him to scorn. And they laughed at him. Of course, when you touch a person, when the heat of the body goes away and the person feels cold, and there is no pulse. So people know when a person is no more. So that's what they did. They didn't feel that the person is now dead. And when Jesus said, no, she is not dead, they began scorning, laughing. But when the people were put forth, he went in. Thereafter he went in and took her by the hand, took the maiden by the hand, and the maid arose. When he took her by the hand, she arose. And the fame hereof went abroad into all that land. And when people heard this, they said, this man has raised the dead. Raised the? That fame went around everybody. He raised the dead. Oh, one. And the fame hereof went abroad into all that land. Everyone came to know about it. That here is a man. Here is a unique man who goes about giving a wondrous teaching. And he also has the powers, the God's powers, to restore a man from death, to raise the man from death, or the woman from death. And Jesus' fame went abroad into all that land. Everybody came to know about it. And when Jesus departed thence from that place, two blind men followed him, crying and saying, thou son of David, have mercy on us. Two blind men. And when he was coming to the house, when he had come into a house, the blind men came to him. And Jesus saith unto them, believe you that I am able to do this? Do you believe that I can make you, restore you? Heal your blindness? They said unto him, yes, Lord, yes, we believe you. Then touched he their eyes, saying, according to your faith be it unto you. Then touched he their eyes, he touched them, saying, according to your faith be it unto you. And their eyes were opened, and Jesus straightly charged them, saying, see that no man know it. Don't go about telling people. Don't. So their eyes opened. He just touched them. These are certain things which special people can do. Restore the sight to the blind. Raise the one who is apparently dead. So only very special persons can do this. And here Jesus was doing it. And their eyes were opened, and Jesus charged them, tell no one about it. Don't advertise. But when they were departed, they were so happy, they spread abroad his fame in all that country. So they went about telling everybody. So people also knew that these were two blind men. So when the two blind men openly now begin seeing and telling everybody, then of course they would believe it. So Jesus' fame spread all in that country, that area. As they went out, behold, they brought to him a dumb man possessed with a devil. Dumb man. And because of the spirit which had possessed him, he was unable to talk. And when the devil was cast out, the dumb spake. The dumb man spake, opened his mouth and spoke. And the multitudes marveled, saying it was never so seen in Israel. And the people around, when they heard the dumb man speak, for they knew that he was a dumb man, possessed by a spirit. So that means, before he became dumb, he was speaking. Then when the spirit took over him, he became dumb and could not talk. Later on, when Jesus cleared the spirit out of him, he began talking again. So this was something astonishing to the people around. And they had never seen such a thing in Israel. So it was very well. So Jesus' ability in doing all this spread all over. But the Pharisees said, he cast out devils through the prince of the devils. So now these fellows are very jealous. Or they are always jealous. The priests are always like that. So they were very jealous. And envious. Jealous means envious. So they wanted to say something unpleasant. So they said, he is casting the devils out because with the help of the king of the devils, the Lord, because this man he doesn't have holy powers, the powers of God. He is operating with the powers of the devils, the bigger devil. He is getting the help of the bigger devil to cast out the smaller devils. That's what they meant. And he cast out devils through the prince of the devils. The prince of the devils is the bigger devil. And Jesus went about all the cities and villages. He went about all the cities and villages. That is why it is said that in the beginning, soon after the passing away, soon after the crucifixion of Jesus, it is said that there were over 100 Gospels. Because to whichever village or town, Jesus went all over that area for 3 years. He gave a teaching. One teaching was given in one section of him, shall we say. One teaching was given here in Bandarabala. Another teaching was given in Haddon. The third teaching was given in Kandy. Another teaching was given in Varelia. And another teaching was given in Horton Plains. So like that, wherever Jesus went in the Middle East, to each city and town, this is an example that I am giving you, that wherever he went, he gave a teaching. So in the Middle East also, in each one of the towns, Capernaum and so many other towns, in each town and village, Nazareth, Capernaum, in all those places, in each town and village, Jesus had given a teaching. He had remained there for some time at each place, and the teachings that he gave is said to be a gospel. It was a gospel. And in the early days of the people, early days before the church got formed, these gospels were taught independently in homes. In homes, private homes, it was taught. So there were over 100. Later on, when the church got formed, established, they began, during the time of Constantine, the Emperor Constantine, it got itself edited. The whole thing got edited, and as a result of it, today you have only 4 Gospels. So humanity has lost a great deal of, these are the publicly, openly acknowledged 4 Gospels, and the human race is poorer for it. So these Gospels which you have are only 4 in number. So thus, in that time, Jesus went all over the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues. Synagogues there means a meeting place, gathering place, a gathering hall, and preaching the gospel of the kingdom. Preaching the gospel of the kingdom. Now that's, remember this, what he was teaching. The gospel of the kingdom with it. the kingdom within. And that teaching was that, oh thou children, the divine God is within you, and you are God's indeed. The gospel means the good news. The good news is that God and I are one. This is the final essence of the teaching. I am in God and God is in me, and God and I are one. This was the gospel. The gospel, the good news, because that is the good news, isn't it? Gospel means good news. What better news can you have? This is the good news. So, he preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing every sickness and every disease amongst the people. So he went about doing all this. But when he saw the multitude, he was moved with compassion on them, because they fainted, because they had come from faraway places. They had gathered there in huge numbers, having walked a long distance. So they had become weak. They had become weak, tired, and they were waiting for Jesus to teach them or to see them. Or they had come to see him, have an audience with him, have an audience with him. So they had come hundreds of miles from all parts, hungered with great difficulty. So therefore Jesus had compassion on them. They had come to have an audience with him. What better audience can you have? The Son of God is there in front of us. To have a vision of him is such a wondrous thing. So they all came from everywhere and were scattered abroad, and as sheep, and they were all scattered abroad as sheep having no shepherd. So they were all eager. All these people who came were eager and hungry for God. As sheep having no shepherd, as they were like sheep, innocent sheep, having no shepherd to guide them, to shepherd them, having no shepherd to guide them, the good shepherd. So Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. And there wasn't anybody to guide them, protect them. A good shepherd guides and protects them. So, therefore, and that was his compassion towards them. Then saith he unto his disciples, the harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. So he said, this is the harvest. These people, all the multitude which is here, who wish to see God and experience God, right? They are the harvest, wherein all these people should be led into the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God is the harvest, God within. But the laborers are few. There are only few people to harvest the crop. Harvest the crop means to guide them, teach them. To guide and teach them. There are not that many indeed. Pray you therefore the Lord of the harvest. So the Lord of the harvest is God himself, the Father. So all of you pray to the Father. So Jesus didn't say pray to me. He said pray to the Father. Pray you therefore the Lord of the harvest, and that he will send forth laborers into his harvest. That he would send people to guide the sheep, the flock. This is the flock of humanity, to guide them. That he would send competent teachers to shepherd them, So pray to God. Pray to God. So that's much. Then, chapter 10. Now he's dealing with his disciples. His disciples are being mentioned in chapter 10. And he is giving them basic instruction in this particular chapter. Instructions to his 12 disciples, whom he had handpicked. He had handpicked. So it's very interesting. It was not the disciples who found Jesus. It was Jesus who handpicked them. He handpicked his 12 disciples. Right? And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits. So he gave them power to cast out spirits which may enter other people, the bodies of people. He gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal all manner of sicknesses. And he also empowered his 12 disciples to heal all manner of sicknesses and all manner of disease. There are certain sicknesses which come and go, like a fever or something. These are sicknesses which come and go. But a disease is something which is a long-standing affair. So he empowered them to do these 3 works: to remove the spirits out of the bodies which they may have entered, and to heal the sick, and cure diseases. And now the names of the 12 apostles are these. The first, Simon, who is called Peter. Simon called Peter. So Simon is also called as Peter. Then Andrew, his brother, too. The second one is Andrew. Simon and Andrew. Peter and Andrew. Then third, James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother. And James's brother. John, his brother. 4. Then Philip and Bartholomew. 6. Then Thomas and Matthew. So there is also a Gospel of Thomas, which has been recently discovered about 60 70 years ago, in the Qumran caves, preserved in the Middle East, in the Qumran caves. Because what had transpired was that, as I said, initially, in the early stages, there were over 100 Gospels. Then these Gospels were edited or brought down to size, and only 4 were left. The others were discarded. Then what happened was, the other Gospels were also prevalent all over the place. Then the church got about burning them, destroying them. The church, after the church got formulated, they began destroying all the other Gospels. They only wanted these 4 Gospels to exist. So all the other Gospels were being destroyed, burnt away. Wherever they discovered and found these Gospels, they burnt. And I also understand that even the great library of Alexandria, which was burnt at that time, because it contained a lot of manuscripts, ancient manuscripts. And that is one of the reasons why that the great library of Alexandria got burnt.
Ancient manuscripts related to Jesus.
Was also there. It contained manuscripts of all, but Jesus was also there. The other Gospels of Jesus was also there. And then there were many other monasteries which contained the other manuscripts also. And then the authorities began searching for it and destroying them. Then the church, the people who had these, the monks who had these, the desert fathers who had these other Gospels, they put them into jars and hid them. That is how it was discovered. They put them into jars and hid them in caves, and they were done so well, the manuscripts. So it survived for nearly 1,500 years or more, or 1,700, 800 years. It survived because that area is dry. That part of it was very dry, and therefore, and it was so carefully preserved, the manuscripts. Of course, many of it had got rot in the meantime, had decomposed and were decomposing, but they were able to fit them together. They were able to fit them together, and having fitted it, it took a rigorous work on the part of many of these people to restore them. Word by word, they had to compare and restore them and fit them. It was a job undertaken by eminent scholars during the 50s, and they succeeded. They worked on it for a long time. And then the Gospel of Thomas emerged, which is a wonderful gospel too. So therefore, Thomas, one of the disciples, and later on this Thomas came to India, this Thomas, was the Thomas. So early Christianity was established in South India by Thomas. So even today there is in Madras the Church of Thomas. The Church of Thomas is there. And Matthew, and of course we are going through the Gospel of Matthew the text. So therefore 8. Then James, there was another James also, the son of Alphaeus. That's 10. That's Alphaeus, yes. The 9. Then, and Libius, whose surname was Thaddeus. So 10. And then Simon. Simon was there was another Simon the Canaanite. So there were 2 persons by the name of Simon. One was Simon, who is called Peter, and there was another Simon who was a Canaanite from the region of Canaan. And then the 12th man, Judas Iscariot, who also betrayed him. Now, these 12 disciples are very significant. And even Judas, the presence of Judas was very necessary. There was a significance there. By Judas, the betrayer was included in this 12. Jesus knowingly included him. He knew the man's act, what he was going to do. But there is another meaning also. During the Last Supper, when you have the Last Supper, the 12 disciples were gathered. There is also significance there. What is this Last Supper? When that time comes, we will explain it. The significance, the mystical significance of this Last Supper. So therefore, all these are the 12 disciples. These 12 disciples sent forth and commanded them, saying, and Jesus commanded them and tell them what to do, how to proceed. So he gave some specific instructions to his 12 disciples how to proceed. He said, go not into the way of the Gentiles. Go not. First of all, go not into the Gentiles. So Gentiles means the non-Jews. First of so, and into go not into the way of the Gentiles or into any city of the Samaritans. Enter you not. Do not even go to the cities of the Samaritans too. But you go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So let us, first of all, you go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That is to the Israelites, to the Jews. First you minister to the Jews. Maintain the focus of attention. First of all on the Jews, the people of the house of Israel. First let you educate them. Step by step things have to be done. So he said, first of all, go to the people of the house of Israel. And as you go, preach saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. You are to preach to them and say, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Is at hand. Now that's very interesting. Is at hand. It's here. At hand means it is right here. The kingdom of heaven is right here. What does he mean by that? Right, kingdom of heaven is right here. Jesus. No, he didn't refer to Jesus himself. He is not the kingdom of heaven. Kingdom of heaven is right here. Right here. Here. Right. Kingdom of heaven is at hand. What is at hand? What is right here? What is right here? You know, these are interesting mystical teaching. Right here. Here. And now and here. Here, yes, for here. It is right here and now. Here and now. That is to say, be in the here. So, when you are going about living your life, be in the here and in the now. Here is the place. So wherever you go, be in the present. Here means be in the present. So the kingdom of heaven is at hand means be in the present. Live in the present. Do not live in the past or the memories of the past. Do not live in the imaginings or the fancies of the future, but live in the present. Be here in the present. So that is what he meant by this. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Be in the present. Live in the present. When you live in the present, that is where the kingdom of heaven is. In the present. Be in the present. And here, so in the present is now. Be in the present. The present is now. Today is the day of salvation. Not only not today, but now is the time of salvation. Now. So at this now, here, present, now. So be in the here and in the now. While being here, be in the now. So then what happens is there is something very remarkable. When you are in the present, in the now, the present is the now, and you are here, because you are here. When you are here in the now and in the present and here, then at that time, automatically, you have become silent. That's the whole secret. If we are not in the present, then you will be somewhere else, isn't it? Where? In your fancies, thoughts, imaginings. That's where you will be. But instead, you have been told to be Kingdom of heaven is at hand here. Be in the now. Be in the present, which is here. The present is here, not there. Don't think of going there. Be here. When you are here, be in the present. And when you are there, be in the present. Wherever you are, be in the present. Wherever you are, here or there or elsewhere, be in the present. So when you are in the present, you are living in the now. And in being, whenever you are being in the present, then at that time, automatically, you have become silent. And you are silently functioning. Or you are silently being. Just be. Just be. Just do. Just do. So during these operations of just being and just doing, peacefully, that is, just live peacefully. You are living in the now, being in the now, right? Being aware. While when you are in the now, you have spontaneously become aware of the divine which is, and therefore you are living in God, and thus the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Is that clear? That's the meaning. And preach this to all the people. What a simple preaching. Anybody can live by that? Because everyone is looking for the way to the kingdom of heaven. And here it is, in one sentence. So Jesus is so wonderful in his teachings. The teachings are so remarkable. That great truths are put across in one-line statements. Then he says, heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils, cast out spirits. And then he says, freely you have received, freely give. You have received it freely, therefore whatever you do it freely, with all your heart. With all your heart, freely give. Freely you have received. You have received from me freely. All these capacities, it has been given to you. The teachings have been given to you freely. The powers have been given to you freely. And therefore, freely give. Freely give. That's what he means here. Then he says certain practical hints and practical advice as to how to go about functioning and living. He mentions, provide neither gold, nor silver, nor brass in your purses. So don't take money with you. That's what he means. When you are going about ministering to the people, from village to village and town to town, do not take neither gold, nor silver, nor brass in your purses. No scrip for your journey. Do not even take a bag. Do not take even a bag. Neither two coats. One coat is sufficient. Neither two coats. Neither shoes. Go barefoot. So, in the olden days, many people did not have shoes. Many people. So, a lot of people went barefoot. Not in course of time, when you go about barefoot, now you take children, little children. I have seen them in the Himalayan mountains. It is hot in the summer and it can be quite cold in the winter. But these children go about barefoot. So what happens is, in course of time, their feet gets acclimatized to the heat, the sensation of heat and cold, and therefore it's able to withstand the heat and the cold, and also the pricks Now you go today outside without barefoot, by the time you come, you'll have to put your legs in hot water to soothe it. But no! So here also. So at that time, so he says, no shoes, no yet staves, here is staff, no sticks. For the workman is worthy of his meat. For you are the workman who is going about. Workman means you are the teacher. You are the teacher. And you are worthy of, and the workman is worthy of his meat. So wherever you go, people in exchange will give you food. Wherever you go. Because you are giving them spiritual food. So this is the interaction. This was there, understood in the olden days. The traveling friars of Europe, they went about, and their basic needs are provided by the villagers and even by some of the monasteries and nuns. So they had no problem. Even in India too, even today too, this culture is very much there, especially in North India. Wherever the hermit monks go about, going about on foot, the villagers, they provide them with shelter, with food, with drinks, like milk, and when I say drinks, we get milk and tea, and they provide them with that, and with cane juice and other juices and buttermilk. They provide them in North India especially. So this way of life is still acknowledged in India, and is still practiced by some of the hermit monks. Not all, some of them. So therefore he says, a workman is worthy of his meat. A workman. So you are the spiritual teacher, and in exchange for your teaching, people will provide you with all this. Have confidence. Have confidence. And into whatever city or town, the norms by which one is to conduct oneself, and into whatever city or town you shall enter, inquire who in it is worthy, and there abide till you go thence. So wherever you go, make some inquiries as to who in this village or town is a God-loving and a God-fearing man, an honorable man, and there you go and abide there. An honorable man, a God-loving man, the moment he sees you, he will invite you to his home. You're unknown to him, but nevertheless he knows that you are a man of God, and therefore he will naturally with love invite you into his home, provide you with a meal, and give you a place to sleep. This was the custom in the ancient days, and very much practiced in India. Till even now it is there. This practice is very much there, not in big cities, but in villages, in towns, in villages and outskirts of the villages. The people in those villages are very gracious, and they know by experience, they know who is who. They know how to distinguish the genuine monks from the fakes, the genuine hermits from the others. So they know. There are mannerisms and ways of attire which is employed or maintained by the truer monks, the truer hermits, and they understand. And accordingly, they provide all this. So there is no problem. And this is a practice even very much so in northern India. So therefore he says, when you go into a village or a town, find out who is of God disposition, and enter into his home and abide there till you leave. Then the people around will come there, will flock there for your teachings. Then he says, when you come into a house, salute it, that is blessing. As you get invited into a house, bless the house as you enter. Bless the house. Bless the house as you enter. And if the house be worthy, and during your stay, if you find that the house is worthy of your blessing, let your peace be upon it, let your blessings be upon it. But if it is not worthy, if the house is not worthy of your blessing, in case they have been discourteous or behaved badly with you, let your peace return to you. Just withdraw your peace and walk away. And walk away. Don't curse the house. Just peacefully withdraw and go away. Huh? And whosoever shall not receive you, whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear your words. Only when they receive you can they hear your words. When you depart out of that house or city, if it is a house or a city, if they do not wish to hear you or receive you or hear you, shake off the dust of your feet. Just turn your back and walk away. Don't worry about it. Shake off the dust of your feet. Shake off the dust of your feet. So, people in India today, even today, they consider that if a true hermit or a true monk comes, they invite the person just to make his appearance in their home, so that by his appearance in their home would be blessed. Just by their presence, just by their appearance. They say, just please come to my home, just for a visit. They feel that the house gets blessed, right? So that feeling and the culture is very much there. But verily I say unto you, it shall be, but in case they do not receive you, in homes or in cities or towns, then he says, verily I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. The land of Sodom and Gomorrah, wherein lot of wild living, that is a mild phrase, was going on in that land and the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. People were wild in their ways, dancing and singing and all sorts of mischief which goes along with it, and wine and dancing and singing. Then everything else takes place after that. One doesn't have to tell. So then God felt, the wrath of God came into that city, and He destroyed that city by bringing about a great earthquake. And in that earthquake, the entire land of Gomorrah and Sodom and Gomorrah, they crumbled, the buildings crumbled, and everything collapsed in that. So when the city has become wicked, it doesn't deserve to survive any further. So it is just like that indeed, when people become discourteous to a holy person and behave with him in an offensive, insulting way, that leads to great disaster towards them. Whether it be in a home, or whether it be in a village or a town or a city. So therefore, that is what he says. The day of judgment, then for that city, it would be like Sodom and Gomorrah. All right, then we will. That's it. We will stop for the day.